Hey coders, let's talk about dockerFile today. Earlier, I've discussed about what is Docker, what is a Docker image, and how you can download an image that is existing in Docker Hub into your local machine and run a particular image. This is just an add-on to what I've already shared. I'll add a link on the description so that you can view that video. But in this video, we are only going to talk about dockerFile. What is dockerFile is, let's say you have your own software where you have created a piece of logic that serves a particular business. Okay, so and you want to dockerize that particular piece of software. This video is all about showing you how dockerfile works, which you could implement dockerizing your own software. Okay, in the earlier video, as I said, you can use existing software or image in docker term, that is called. You can use an existing software or an existing image. Instead of using an existing image or an existing software, let's say you want to let's say you have your own software, and if you want to use that software in a docker container, uh, this is the way forward. This is the basic software industry way of containerizing any software. So let's start with that today. uh, in this video, as I'm not going to detail about how you will have to write your software, I'm going to take a video. I'm just going to take a basic Python program which prints a statement on your terminal. That will be my software. All it does is prints a statement, and that particular piece of program or a software on this case, let me try to dockerize that piece of software. So so I just so whatever you see right now is a very basic Python program where it all it does is just prints hello from Docker container, nothing more. Okay, it is just a straightforward print statement. If you're familiar with Python, this is all about it. So I just named the file as python dot python example.py. I can run this program in terminal just to let you know. I'm already saved it on my desktop. So desktop inside a folder called Docker. So python.xml.ps is the file. So let's say if I want to run Python, all I all I have to do is there is a typo in Python. So all I have to do is just say Python to execute whatever Python file that I want. Once I hit enter, all it does is it prints hello from Docker container, whatever is there in the program. It just prints that file. So that's pretty much what this Python file does. That's that's my software, and it is my own software. Let's say I want to dockerize this particular Python file. What I have to do is uh, I want to build an image at the back of this Python printing software. So this particular software only prints hello from Docker container. Let's say I want to containerize this software. Okay, this is a software and I want to containerize this particular file. Okay, so I had to, if I want to make a Docker file, I had to name my file as Docker. Okay, docker file, this is constant. It will make sense in few minutes, but if I want to write a docker file, I have to name my file as docker file without any extension. My complete file is docker file. So I've used visual code to name it because it will allow me to save without an extension, but you can use other editor too. Okay, the very basic syntax of a docker file is you have to declare a base image. Okay, as I said, this is a Python program. So uh, I need the basic, I mean, Docker container is a Linux operating system, right? On top of Linux operating system, you can install as many software as you want. So you have the underlying OS. On top of that OS, to allow my Python program to run, I definitely need a Python software, right? So that's where the from, and you have to define the base OS, I mean the base software on which your entire software is going to run. Okay, on this case, since I'm using Python, I'm just given Python colon whatever version that I want. I want always to pick the latest version, so I have given it latest. So if you have watched my earlier video, you would already know that uh, this follows the a very basic syntax followed by software colon followed by its version name. And as mentioned in that video, it goes and checks all the publicly available repo, which is in hub.docker.com. So it scans that particular repository, a Docker repository, and then pulls down Python with the image version as latest. Okay, so this is mandatory. This will be always the very first line in a Docker file. Without this line, I mean, there has to be a basement. This is your basement for any software that you want to run. Let's say you've written a program in Java, you would have given it as from Java colon let's say 8 or whatever version that you want, or 11 or 12 if in future whatever version that you have got. So that's what you would mention. So I've written my program in Python, so I've given now my base version as a Python. This is your base image, technically speaking, base image as in base Docker image. So I have I have a keyword called working directory. Whenever I set the working directory, I can set to whatever path that I want. I know Python is installed in use our local bin. This is something that as you use any programming language like Python, Java, they have their own bin directory, right? Like JDK has its own bin directory, Python has its own, or .NET, whatever. Uh, so whenever I want to run any JDK or something, or any Java command or Python command or .NET command, I have to set my working directory to a particular path where my bin of that particular programming language resides, right? So on Python, it sits on this particular directory, and that's what I'm actually setting it up. Then my piece of software or my piece of program is python example.py. Okay, I want to copy that from my local machine and then copy it into the bin directory. Okay, because my working directory is set to bin, you mean usr localhost bin. I'm going to copy the file and move it on to bin, literally. Correct, and that's what I want to do. Let's say my file name is xyz.python. I would have actually given xyz as python. So whatever name that you give is the name of your file, and I want to copy it to whatever current working directory I am currently in. Okay, my since I've set my working directory already has been, it just copies it from my local to whatever to inside the docker container. That's pretty much to it. So once the so this whatever I'm showing right now as a Docker file is an image. Okay, so as part of doing all this process, at the end the image should run, right? I can pass in a command. The command is python and the file name. So I have already showed you when I type the python space the name of the python file what I want to execute. It just gives me hello. It just printed me hello from a docker container, right? So if I want to execute the same thing inside a container, all I just pass is my command. The first argument is the whatever command that I want to pass. If I'm in Java environment, I would have said Java. If I'm in a shell command, I would have been in sh. I would have given sh. So, and then followed by whatever parameter that particular command wants. So that's pretty much what a Docker file is, and you can play around with a number of options that you have got, but that is of a different video. But this is to give you a general overview of what is a Docker file is all about. So this is what a Docker file is. So let me try to build a image out of this Docker file, and then let's try to run this Docker image. That is something that we will cover now. So let me open my terminal, and as I said, let me clear my screen just to make sense. I'm doing an ls, so my Docker file, whatever I've showed you now, is this file. Let me view this. Okay, so whatever you have seen in Visual Code is exactly what you are seeing in this Docker file. So let me clear that. Okay, ls. So if you have watched the earlier video, you would know that if I want to build any image, I use the docker build. Okay, so docker build, what I want to do is I want to build docker. I want to build a docker file, right? So I want to build the image that is available on, that is defined on dockerfile. All I have to give is dot, which is representing the current as you could see now. It have downloaded the image available in Python latest from dockerhub.com, and it have executed all the steps from 1 to 4. As you could see, it created a number of interim containers. So let's say so once it have downloaded the image, Python, which is this SHA256 image, it have created a container called E497. On this particular container, it have run this particular command, and then created a new image. Once a new container is created, new image is created, just deleted the previous image, and then it went through and finally running all the steps. For each step, it will try to create a new image, and then it will apply that particular, let's say if it is trying to execute the third step, it will take the image that it got created on the previous step, and then create a new image based on the previous image. Similarly, at the end, we got this image starting at DAD. So if I do Docker images, I'll get the image that it got created, which is DB. So it creates a container, and then based on that, within that container, it tries to create a new image, and then deletes the container, and then keeps the new image. Whatever image that it got created earlier, will just try to delete. So it will do the same thing on each and every step, and that's what you see on the Docker run dot step. So if I want to run this particular image, you already know the command to docker run and the image ID. So if I give this, so it should create a container, and then the statement, whatever I've given, or the whatever software that it is there, which I've given within the command, it should get executed, which is what hello from Docker container. So to run this particular image, the Docker would have actually created a container. So if I do Docker PS, I think I should not see any container. Why? Because the container would have no longer be there. So if I give container -p, it should also give me a container that I've already stopped. So this was the container that created 35 seconds ago, and it have exited successfully also, because my Docker file, if you remember, I had only one command where it only executes a Python command. So as soon as the command executed, the container had no purpose to exist, because of it having no purpose. The container deletes itself. So that's how you run your image locally. But let's say you have your software, and you have dockerized this, and you want to distribute this software where anyone can run and install it globally. So that's where we can upload this particular image. When I say image, this image, which DAB, whatever image that you created, this is something that you can upload it, and others can use this base image and then do whatever they want. So like Java, like Python, whatever we have done, so they could use this particular image. So let's say if I want to uh, you know um, publish this particular image, uh, let me clear this screen. To tag your image, so I got an image called TABE. So I had to tag this image and then push that into a repository. So how do you do that is there's a command called docker tag. So this is the image that I want to tag. I have a repository called Rasmivan. Within that, I want to say docker file. I can give whatever version that I want. Let me give 0.1 and then hit enter. This should tag my image. So if I do tag image, this gives me whatever I've given. So the first part of whatever I've given in tag, so docker tag, whatever image that I want to tag, okay, followed by it, I should give the repository names, okay. So this will be available on this particular repository, okay. You should have access to this particular repository. You should have read-write access to this particular repository. When I say repository, I mean hub.docker.com. So that is something where you can create your public Docker Hub repository. It is similar to GitHub. This is something that I've gone through on the previous video. And then within that repository, you create your sub branch or something like that. So similar to what you do in Git repository. And then you have to give a tag version. Tag version is nothing but the software version itself. So once you have tagged it, all you have to do is docker push and followed by your repository name and the version. Let's say you have multiple version, you give whatever version, but this is optional. I can directly give a rasmivan slash dockerFile. So whatever tag that I have within my local docker image, that should get pushed into docker hub. So I have only one, but you can specify whatever version that you want. So I'm just going to give a docker push, and it is connecting to dockerhub.com, which is this, and then it is trying to push all the content into Docker Hub. So okay, so right now it have actually pushed and created an image, whatever you see as SHA256 followed by some alphanumeric number, that is the image name. When you see docker build dot, it pulled python dot latest, right? Similarly, python was an image, so when you build an image you get SHA256 image ID, so that is unique every image. So this is your image ID. So I will quickly show my docker page. I have not refreshed my page, so I've logged into dockerhub.com already. I mean hub.docker.com. So once I refresh, you'll be able to see I've just signed out, so I'm logging in again. So I'm back to my repository. Just a minute ago, rasmivan slash docker file is something that got created just a minute ago. So if I enter into it, you see my version, and if I want to distribute this, all I have to give is this particular line. So one can pull images which will execute that one particular command. Okay, so that's what we want to cover on this particular video. As usual, I've listed all the file into a Git repository. I've checked in all my codes into a Git repository. I'll share a link on the description of this particular video for you to verify